Found a medieval world in an old tank. Then every change I made rewrote modern America. I bought the tank because I thought it would look cool in my apartment. That was the dumb part. The dangerous part was realizing the tiny medieval town inside it was real. And every time I helped them, the world outside my window changed with it. I found it at a flea market outside Sacramento, sitting under a folding table between rusty tools and a box of VHS tapes. Brass frame. Thick glass. Weird symbols around the base. On the front, in faded black paint, it said, "Property of the Mercer Estate. Do not fill past the line." Mercer was my last name. A normal person would have walked away. I paid $30 and brought it home. That night, after I cleaned it and filled it just below the line, I saw tiny lights moving inside. Not reflections. Torches. There was a whole little town in there. Stone church. Dirt roads. Timber houses. Tiny people running around like their world was ending. Then smoke started rising from one side of the village, and I did what any modern idiot does when reality breaks. I grabbed a Sharpie. I held up a piece of cardboard that said, "Boil water. Wash hands. Keep the sick apart." The villagers panicked at first. Then one old woman started screaming at everybody, and suddenly half the town was hauling pots over fires. Over the next few days I gave them more. Burn dirty bedding. Clean wounds with boiled cloth. Use willow bark for fever. Stop throwing filth near the well like absolute lunatics. And it worked. The sickness slowed down. The next morning I woke up in a different Sacramento. Not fantasy different. History different. There were old stone canals downtown. A hospital district that somehow existed centuries too early. A statue in the plaza of a hooded woman holding herbs in a bowl. The plaque called her St. Elsbeth, Mother of Mercy. I knew exactly who that was. The tiny old woman who had listened to my first sign. That was when I realized I wasn't watching history. I was editing it. And once I understood that, I got greedy. I taught them better drainage. The modern city got cleaner. I taught them crop rotation. California got richer. I showed them safer fire starting methods. Now museums had exhibits on the Mercer ignition method. My apartment building changed around me twice in 1 week, and nobody noticed except me. To everybody else, this had always been the world. Inside that tank, I wasn't some guy barely staying sane in traffic and paying bills. I was a giant. A savior. And yeah, part of me liked it. That should have scared me more. The real disaster started when the tiny town got attacked. One night I came home and found raiders outside the walls. Tiny men dying in the mud. Houses burning. I snapped. I didn't hand them modern weapons, but I gave them just enough to poison history. Better fortifications. Killing trenches. Smoke bombs. Stronger crossbows. The rough bones of early black powder. Enough to save them. Enough to damn the future. The raiders got crushed. I went to sleep feeling sick. Then I woke up in a Sacramento built by people who had learned conquest early and learned it well. The canals were lined with watchtowers. The healer statues were gone. Bronze commanders stood in their place. School books praised campaigns and victories instead of mercy. The little town I had saved had become the seed of an empire. That's when the tank stopped feeling magical and started feeling radioactive. I tried to fix it. No more war. No more shortcuts. This time I pushed boring things history never makes movies about. Public bathhouses. Quarantine laws. Granaries. Written records. Protected healers. Drainage. Shared power. Early printing so laws and remedies spread faster than fear. The city inside the tank fought me on all of it. Then plague hit again. And the side with clean water, records, and medicine won. A few days later, modern Sacramento changed again. Still old. Still scarred. Still carrying marks from the harsher timeline. But better. The hospital district was back. The military memorials were smaller. Public buildings honored healers, engineers, and lawmakers beside the generals instead of beneath them. I went downtown to the museum and found the oldest sketch in the building. It showed the original settlement. On the hill above the church stood a wooden cross beside a stone basin for washing hands. That broke me a little, because that was the whole story. I bought a weird tank thinking it was decoration, and ended up rewriting America one medieval panic at a time. I still keep it in my apartment. Still brass-framed. Still ugly. Still filled just below the line. Sometimes the tiny city is celebrating. Sometimes mourning. Sometimes arguing over things I set in motion months ago. And every now and then, I see little people standing on that hill, looking up like they know I'm there. Maybe they thank me. Maybe they hate me. Fair enough. Because now I know how thin a better world really is. One bad idea. One desperate war. One more moment of me playing God. That's all it would take to wake up in a country built by my worst impulse instead of my best one. Moral of the story? Never trust a flea market artifact with your last name on it. Especially when it lets you edit history.